Do you want to know the very simple reason why situationships don't work? It's because one person is getting their needs met and the other is not. My name is Megan. I'm a holistic and somatic therapist who specializes in love, self-love, breakups, and relationships. And I want to help you have a healthier relationship with yourself so that you can have healthier relationships with the people in your life. And if you are stuck in a cycle of situationships, then you're in a pattern of a lack of reciprocity, where you are probably the one who's not getting your needs met. If you're watching this video, I'm guessing you're the person in the situationship who wants more than the other person wants, which is kind of the definition of the dynamic of a situationship. There are two people who are acting like they're in a relationship. They are physically intimate, they spend time together, they go on dates, but there's not necessarily a clearly defined label to the relationship or a direction where the relationship is headed. There's probably one person who says, I'm not interested in anything serious right now, I don't want a commitment, I just don't really know what I'm doing in life right now, I'm not looking for what you're looking for, but we can keep hanging out if you want. And you, being the person on the other side of that equation, enjoys the time you spend with them, you like them, you're attracted to them, maybe you even think and hope and wish that it could be more, and so you're not willing to let go and lose them, or you just don't want to be alone right now because it feels lonely. And so you say, yeah, okay, that's fine, we can keep hanging out, even though beneath the surface, it's painful. It's painful to be in a dynamic with somebody who isn't reciprocating the feelings that you have for them. It's painful to be with somebody who isn't choosing you when you want to choose them. It's painful to be with somebody who really is showing you through their actions that you're not enough for them. Not that you're not enough, because you are. You inherently are enough. You are worthy. You are lovable. But being with somebody who cannot choose you back makes you feel not enough and probably affirms a deep core wound of that part of you who already felt unworthy and unlovable. And so you can stay in this dynamic and you can continue to repeat this pattern that probably stems from your past, probably as far back as your childhood, or you can heal the core wound that has led you to choose an unavailable person in the first place, no matter how wonderful they are. You can learn to uplevel your standards. You can learn to practice setting boundaries. And you can learn to say, as much as I care about you, as great as I think you are, you don't want what I want, and so this isn't for me. And I'm going to do the self-respecting thing and walk away. That's the hard choice to make. And I know that because I was stuck in the cycle of situationships for many, many years. I jumped from one to the next, thinking that it would be different each time, thinking that I was different each time. Even when I started to build the courage of setting a new standard for myself, saying, I don't want this, I'm not going to put up with this anymore, I would still put up with it. I would still go back to the person who didn't want what I want and be caught forever in that loop of not having the fulfilling, healthy love and the relationship that I truly craved and was seeking. And that didn't change until I was willing to get really honest with myself about why I was choosing it. The problem with the situationship isn't that that person doesn't want what you want. It isn't that they're not choosing you. It's that you're choosing to participate in that dynamic, even though it's not what you really want, even though it's not healthy for you. And that's hard to admit. It's hard to admit to yourself that you're the one standing in your own way. It's also hard to do the confrontational work of self-discovery to understand where that core wound comes from and to be able to be willing to sit with the pain of where that core wound comes from, because it probably does stem back pretty far and go pretty deep. And most of us don't feel equipped to deal with that depth of pain, but you are. You are capable of it. I've done it. I've guided so many people through the process, and you are worthy of a love that reciprocates. You're worthy of a love that chooses you. You're worthy of getting your needs met. And maybe you don't feel that way because maybe you had to learn to suppress your needs a really long time ago. Maybe you were taught that no one was coming for you anyways, even if you asked to get your needs met, that their priorities were more important and yours had to be diminished. And so you learned to people please, you learned to caretake, you learned to self-abandon, throw your needs out the window for the sake of showing up for other people because that was the only thing that gave you access to connection. Maybe you've been in that pattern for a long time. Even still, you can change and transform it. and you can create space for healthy mutual love in your life. And it has to start with your relationship with self and examining your core relational attachment wounds. And maybe you're holding on to hope because you've seen it work out for someone else in the past. You saw somebody hold on to hope. They stayed in their situationship for long enough until they wore that person down, and they eventually changed their mind, and then they got married and lived happily ever after. And you're hoping that will be the case for you too. And I'm not saying that can't happen. There are situations where somebody who is avoidant works on themselves and gets to the point where they're willing to choose to be in a relationship with the other person. It can happen, and you have to take people at face value. If the person you're with right now is showing you that they're not willing or able or interested to do that deep inner work to progress to the point of being ready for a relationship, then you have to assume that this is the version of them you're going to get forever. You have to make the choice to set that boundary and cut off contact so that you can focus on your relationship with yourself. And maybe they'll do their inner work, and maybe they'll come back around, and maybe they won't. But either way, your ability to experience healthy love is not dependent on this one person choosing you. Whether or not they choose you, you can still choose yourself. You can still choose to create space for the kind of relationship you really want. And it starts by ending the dynamic that isn't right for you. That's why a situationship will never work, because it will never give you what you truly want. And it might feel good in those moments where you do get connection or validation or affection from them. And it might feel hard to let go of that. I don't deny that. It's going to be hard. You're going to have to grieve it just like you would a real breakup. And you are worthy of the time that it takes to heal. You are worthy of being chosen. You are worthy of a love that shows up, chooses you, and stays. And if you get anything out of this video, I hope it's that. And I hope you decide to choose yourself. And if you do, and you're looking for resources and support in the process, I've linked my courses and programs in the comment section below. So make sure you check those out, like this video, subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date on all of the latest videos, and I will see you next time.